spectrum nerds. We're just two broad spectrum nerds. When your IP is in a straitjacket, we won't attack it, we'll just give it reconstructive surgery. We're your two best friends. I'm the bro, I'm the sis. We know your story's coke and that you're an addict, but we love you too much to let you go down like this, so we'll hug you close and shout, no, broad spectrum nerds. We're just two broad spectrum nerds. When your IP is in a straitjacket, we won't attack it, we'll just give it reconstructive surgery. We've got ideas for years. I'm a vet, I'm a teacher. We make a meat quesadilla, feast in our cafeteria. We are two broad spectrum nerds. Broad spectrum nerds.
Hello, welcome
Hiya.
again back to Broad Spectrum Nerds. I am Brotha-Host.
I am
Josh
Sista-Host.
Evans.
Nicole Evans.
And today we're gonna spitball a little bit about Young Justice. So as you guys all know, there are 3 seasons, and I believe a 4th is on the way from the DC Universe app. We are going to talk about, I think we have like 3 things from season 3 that we like really connected to and enjoyed. But other than that, we're just gonna start from season 2 and say, like, you know, what kinds of things would we have liked to see in a season 3? Not really season 4. We're just gonna kind of spitball what a season 3 could have been, what we would like to see, like I said. And yeah, so it's not this is episode 1, episode 2. It's not a hard and fast. It's just like this
Very
big picture. These are things we want.
We're having a conversation.
Yes. So, but we're gonna start with our ever present notes. Paper friendly.
The
Save
environment.
the trees. Greta, I'm with you. Okay. So, I'll go first. I really only had one scene that meant anything to me from season 3. And it's in, I think it's Zatanna.
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 Zatanna? Zatanna. It's
Tomato.
Zatanna and Zatara.
Tomato.
No.
Tomato.
It's not the same.
Potato.
Continue.
Potato.
What's your point?
Hola. Aloha. You gonna plug me in front of my friends? All right. So there's only really one scene from Young Justice season 3 that I really resonated with, that really I connected to, and they're trying to get Artemis. She's gonna go into like this dream sphere space to talk to Wally, and it's a bunch of magic mumbo jumbo. But at the end of that scene, in order to do that, they needed Fate's help, and I'm trying to remember how it was set up.
What are you talking about? I think you're talking about something else. The scene he's talking about is that once a year, Zatanna is allowed to have a day with her father.
But isn't that the same part where they went?
No.
Okay, so I got some scenes
No.
crossed. Okay, so yeah, she's allowed once a year. She's
year.
allowed to have a day where Fate takes off the helmet so she can talk to her dad. Yeah. I was getting things mixed up.
Mad confused.
Completely. Right. And she had her homegirls with her for like solidarity. So, anyways, so Zatanna goes to meet with Fate, and the deal is like he takes off the helmet. She gets to see her dad.
One day
out of the year, and not even really for that long. It seems like it was only like a few hours, and so they did that scene, and like the helmet comes off, and they have like this reconnecting.
And he's like older, and
he's like, older.
She's like,
they're talking, and it was just really emotional.
It was a really hard scene.
The music hit, even how they did the cut scenes to like other parts of the episode when they came back
to them,
like,
just like it was like quiet and just intimate, like they were like having like a real moment. Like it looked like it felt like we were intruding on their moment.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Then her heartbreak when it came time for the helmet to go back on her. For those of you who don't know, in Young Justice, really quickly, there's a master magician named Dr. Fate. His power is in this a helmet, and basically how he stays alive is different magicians through the years put the helmet on, and he basically possesses their body.
He wholly possesses their body.
In one of the episodes where he was introduced, Zatanna put the helmet on, and
as a magician,
and he took over her body. But then her dad was like, "No, that's my daughter." And Nebu,
Nabu.
I think it's Nabu. Nabu, Dr. Fate. He was like, why would I get on your body? You're older. Like, she's young and powerful and strong. And Nabu was like, yeah, but because she's young, she's not experienced. Like, I'm older, I'm sturdier, I know magic. And if you take it off, if you release her, he commit himself.
Life, yeah.
Like, you can have my body forever. And so he did that. And so Zatanna comes back. She kind of basically like wakes up and she realizes what happened. And
she's
so she
lost her father.
dad. Going back to the scene. So once a year, he's permitted to take the helmet off.
So we can see her.
And, there's a bunch of magic stuff. So if he violates it, like a bunch of terrible things will happen. So it's not really an option to not put the helmet back on or to put it on someone else. But it was just beautiful. And then like her that heartbreak was like
he like steps back and like puts it on.
Yeah.
And then like Nabu just leaves because he doesn't care about Zatanna.
At all.
And then she like crumples.
Yeah. And she has her girls there, Artemis
and M'gann, I think.
Yeah. Artemis
they come and like they comfort her, but like
just a whole
scene crumples so completely.
It was powerful.
It hurt so much.
So yeah.
That was pretty.
Yeah. And that was the only scene out of the entire season that I cared about. I think you had a couple more. That sounded colder than I intended for it to be.
It did.
But, yeah.
I had two scenes that, in addition to his, that were really... That kind of hit me a little bit. So one of them was when Dick was with Roy and the arrows and whatever. He was helping their
the security guard mission.
Security guard mission.
That was a good episode.
It was like he was helping them do a thing, and then some bad guys came, and another thing happened. As Young Justice bad guys show up and they do things. But at one moment, Dick and Roy were on top of like this truck that they were trying to like get back because it was stolen from them. As things happen, and Dick laughs and he looks over at Roy and he calls him Wally, and it's like for those of you who don't know, Wally died at the end of season 2, and so this is like 5 years after that, and he still is like looking for his best friend, and Roy is all like Roy and Wally are both like redheads, so he looked over at a familiar redhead in the middle of like a battle. And he saw his best friend, and he called out for him, and and it wasn't him, and I was like, "Oh, you precious baby, like that's not fair."
Yeah,
he lost his best because like they were best friends from like young till and like Wally died when he was like 16, and I think Dick was like 14 or something like that. Like they were they were children, like they were best friends and they were children,
and it was like a well paid off friendship. Like they showed, it wasn't just like, "Hey, we're best friends." Like they showed through the progression of the episodes how close they were. If there was somebody who was going to check Dick, who was a Robin, it was Wally. He would call him out on his stuff
and he did
all the time. So yeah, it was a very well articulated friendship. And so his death hit him, and
like even 5 years later, he's still feeling it, and he just like looked over and he's like, "Ha!" Like he like laughs. He's like, "Oh, same old Wally," or something like that. And then Roy looked at him. He's like, "I'm not Wally." And like they go down to like another conversation. Like you need to stop looking for him because he's not here anymore. Yeah. But like that moment when he was just like so good naturedly, like honestly, just looking for his friend in an environment he's used to. He just looked over. And he's not there, but he saw him there, like the ghost haunting him. Yeah. And that was a really good moment for me. That's one that I liked. And then the other one was the one that he was talking about, that he was confused about at the beginning because magic confused him, I guess. So what he was talking about was Artemis, who was dating Wally in season 2, who also was impacted by his death. She hasn't really moved on in the last 5 years. So M'gann and Zatanna gave her like a chance to go see Wally in like the afterlife. None of it is real, ultimately. It's Zatanna and M'gann gave her like an open space within her subconscious to talk to Wally and kind of let him go.
Yeah. It was a closure.
Yeah, because she had never really had closure and she was just kind of like stuck. So they gave her that moment like in her subconscious to just spend time with him and like kind of imagine their life and everything. And at the end of that, Wally / Artemis kind of convince her to let him go. And so like she comes out and she's like basically a new character. Like she's like rejuvenized in a way. Like she gets to
revitalized, rejuvenated.
That was it. That was
okay.
the word. That was the word.
Yeah, she comes out. She got what she needed. She was able to let him go. And
she doesn't know. She doesn't know it's fake. But
but she was committed to living her. I can't believe I'm saying this. To living her best life. So those are the season 3 moments.
They were good moments.
So we're gonna go back to season 2 and kind of reimagine season 3 in spite of those moments, because season 1 and season 2 they were, and it was all about setting stuff up and paying them off, setting up, paying off, and it was very well integrated. It was character depth. They only added new characters when it made sense, and they never flooded you with so many new characters you didn't know what to do.
And the new characters that they added, they were like there for like a couple of episodes, but they weren't like a permanent fixture. Like they were there for their time, and then they were able to move on to do other things and come back only when necessary. Yeah. Like they weren't like, well, here are 7 new people, and we're gonna hang on to them.
Yeah, it was
for the entirety of the season.
It was woven very well. Like
it was excellent.
Writing any type of show with an ensemble cast is a tricky thing, because how do you balance out having 13 different characters who all have to, have their focus, have their time, and then within that 13 you always have your special focus of 3 or 4. There's an art to it. There's an art and a dance. Season 1, season 2 did that. Season 3, not so much. And again, this is not a judgment. This is not slamming anybody's.
It is a hard thing to do.
But season 3 just didn't do it. They basically did the opposite of that. They kept just adding stuff. So anyways, we're not going to trash that.
That's not why we're here.
It's not necessary. So, like I said, we're gonna spitball just a little bit of season 3. And again, this is not hard and fast. Like, these are what the episodes would be, but just ideas.
Like what we would like to see. Like things that ended in season 2 that would have been nice to see paid off in season 3.
Yeah. One such thing is Wally's death. How they did Wally's death is, like, they didn't do it in such a way that it was permanent. It was kind of
it was like
he got erased into the Speed Force.
Which isn't permanent, fun fact.
Right. Or it doesn't have to be. Like, there's ways to get into the Speed Force.
And out of the Speed Force.
Yeah. And so, like, Wally is basically dead, but it was alluded to that he was in the Speed Force. And Dick, who was Nightwing at the time and had been leading the team and doing everything, he's like, I need to take a step back.
It's his best friend.
Right. And so just that story alone, like, if he's taking a step back from leading the team and going to regular missions,
what could he be doing?
He's trying to figure out how to get Wally out the Speed Force. That is a humongously interesting story. And then Artemis, who was... Did she decide to be Tigress? Yeah, she was Artemis, but then at the end she decided to commit to his alter ego Tigress.
Because
she could have gone with him.
Wally's partner, so she wanted to be Tigress, someone else.
So the two of them, who love this character for different reasons, like he's the brother, she's the romance, they team up and try and figure out, how do we get Wally out of the Speed? How do we get him back? And they are free from the burden of going on missions and doing Justice League stuff. So that's something.
Something interesting.
Could have been played with. And it's cool. It's one of those stories that you could do every 4th or 5th episode.
Because it's like an ongoing journey to figure it out. Like, it doesn't have to be like, 1, 2, 3, we're done.
Yeah.
It would take time and effort.
It's the B story of the whole season 3. That's what it would be.
Just like, so whatever is happening up here.
They're like, you need to cut away to something. Wally. They're doing, and there could be some overlap, sure, but they're trying to get Wally out, which can take you to interesting places. Like, do you use science? Do you use magic? Do you revisit other Flashes?
You have to bury
how many laws do you break? Like, all of it. So that's one thing. Okay, so at the end of season 2, they introduced a handful of characters, brand new characters from Star Labs. One of those characters was Virgil Hawkins.
This is near and dear to his heart.
Whose alter ego is Static, or Static Shock, depending on the show. I personally, he is my favorite superhero. I'm calm. I personally would have liked to see, like, that payoff. So, like, it's they've been graduating teams throughout the season. So season 1, you have the initial, they're all like really young, and it's like Justice League. Season 2, Justice League is more background. The season 1 heroes are older, and they're leading the basically Young Justice 2.0. And so season 3, you do another graduation and have the third team, Young Justice 3.0, be these new people. And
He's
so you
really
have Static.
About Static.
You had an indigenous superhero. You had well,
Hispanic,
did it have,
no, not Jaime.
but he wasn't a part of it, but he was still like,
no, the
teleportation
dude.
Yeah,
what's his face?
Yeah, you had a Mexican
dude.
Who
we're
like
talking
basically they did. I don't really like the word diversity.
It was like a Asian chick who really didn't speak English, and she talked to like the mother box, like her.
Yeah. She could communicate with technology. They did diversity completely organically. Like it
was great. It was really.
We just kind of showed up in
they were all there.
Yeah, and it was only like 5 heroes.
It was like.
It was perfect. And so it's like, oh, season 3 is going to be about their development and how do they mesh with like the prior team who isn't all the way like solidified yet, and like Batgirl is doing a lot more leadership now. It's just like,
and like if with Dick stepping back, then Batgirl would have to like step up, and then it would be like Miss Martian, and like we finally see like Calder like.
And Calder was leading the league. It just the Young Justice team, which made him an integral part of like the Justice League itself,
which is awesome.
So we have this team to develop. We have the B story of Dick and Tigress trying to get Wally out of the Speed Force, and then you have just the general chaos of like Lex Luthor is still president. Actually, yeah, because he's
not president. He was secretary.
Was he Secretary of State?
Yeah.
Okay, he was Secretary of State.
Which is
so you have
still
him doing
bad
his
to
thing.
Have him in power.
Oh, and then at the end you had Darkseid and Savage shaking hands. Like those are all huge. I'm passionate about this. Those are all very, very huge storyboards. So you have Darkseid and Savage, two of the biggest bads of all time. You have Dick and Artemis going to get Wally out the Speed Force. You have Aqualad Calder, who's on the league and leading the young teams. I don't know why I'm doing my hands like this.
I don't know either.
And doing the young teams. And then I think I said all the things. I'm sure there's something that I'm missing.
The young team.
Oh, and then the new team, developing the new team.
What are you doing?
Because each thing is like 2 different things. Whatever. You have the new team. So like that's 4 different things.
That's 4 things.
That's 4 different things.
He couldn't count there for a second.
I just realized I've been yelling for like 5 minutes.
It started with Static, and you just ramped yourself all the way up.
That's 4 different things. Those are
really interesting.
Very strong.
Would have been really interesting.
Strong points.
And then how they ended season 3, like they alluded at Legion of Superhero, which would have been interesting had they done all of the other things, because then we would have like all of these different teams set up. And then we would like probably have gotten Wally out of the Speed Force at the end of it. Yeah. And then it's like
without pain, but there would have been a huge
in the future.
Yeah, season 4 is then space. So
and the future.
Legion of Superheroes, you can do an invasion from Apocalypse properly. So these are some of the ideas that we'd like to see paid off. And if we had to do season 3, these are the threads we would have stuck with. And again, these aren't threads that we are injecting or inserting.
We're not creating these. They were there.
This was in season 2.
For the
all this was in season 2.
At the last I think 5 episodes of season 2, they set this up so well for it to just
flow right into season 3, and then season 3 into season 4, like you said. Then the final frontier is space. Do space
and the
Legion
future.
of Superheroes. And it could have been wildly something else. So if we had to do Young Justice,
we would have done it wildly something else.
Yeah, that's what we would have done. So once again, thank you guys for watching us, listening to our theories or our version of the story.
His yelling, I apologize for the yelling.
I was passionate. If you want to follow me, Instagram, Twitter, at joshevansgo. If you want to follow Sista-Host, it's
at visions_live.
And we will see you guys next time.